The unsung truth of the cosmetology industry is that it has nothing to do with beauty. It is our perceived lack of beauty and our lack of personal autonomy that drives the business forward. For years, I ignored the red flags about sustainable beauty regarding the cruel exploitation of our planet and its people, and spending much, much more than I needed to on luxury beauty items, cosmetics, makeup, skincare, you name it. I disregarded significant red flags that permeated across the industry. This includes, but is not limited to, the misuse of finite natural resources, distribution of large tons of waste within our landfills, and human rights abuses across various underprivileged countries. It was not that I didn't empathize with the negative impact of my decisions, but rather that I didn't feel any personal responsibility towards my decisions or their consequences. It is now that I realize the grave error in this mentality. Our choices and their consequences do not end with us, and they will always be our responsibility to bear. For many who have had such a realization regarding the unjust nature of the cosmetology industry, so-called sustainable cosmetology may appear as a valid solution to our current problem. This shift towards sustainability and beauty, however, only scratches the surface of a much larger issue. The truth about the current state of the cosmetology industry is that it must be redefined in order to be remedied. And the problem that we're having with the current state of the cosmetology industry is that at the moment, this perspective is not being taken seriously. We must examine the heart of the problem, overconsumption, in order to truly conquer it. Now, there is truly no better frame of reference for a future than the present. So let's take a look at some current phenomena across the beauty industry. So, what exactly is sustainability? I'm sure many of you in the audience have somewhat of an idea, but according to Investopedia, sustainability is defined as a practice that meets our needs in the present day without compromising the needs or livelihoods of future generations. An incredibly important element regarding sustainability is lifestyle. How do we live within our means? I'm someone, as my mother would know, who has often struggled with living within my means. Whether it be excessive buying, excessive purchases, makeup, beauty products, anything like that, I understand that it can be difficult, especially within your youth, to reel in certain spending habits. It is, however, incredibly important to try, starting with waste reduction. It is an unfortunate truth that waste reduction is where true sustainability starts, but also often where a commitment to the practice tends to end. It can be difficult to reel in certain spending habits in favor of a greater cause, but it is these individual steps that create greater waves within this movement. So where does sustainable beauty fall into this idea of waste reduction? Now, it is not necessarily that there are no sustainable, ethical, or environmentally friendly beauty products out there, but rather that many of the products marketed as such are not fully truthful, according to the UN Environment Program. Furthermore, according to the site Sutana, greenwashing is a common issue within the beauty industry, as it is the practice whereby brands will use false or misleading advertising in order to sell more profits and appeal to our morality as consumers. So what can we do as consumers in order to reduce the negative impact of beauty on the environment? First, it is paramount that we reduce our consumption habits, thereby eliminating the core problem through our power as consumers. In the end, regardless of how sustainable our products may appear to be, they are still producing and distributing waste that will likely become pollutants, leading to the senseless degradation of our planet and its natural environments. Overconsumption cannot be solved through the active creation of different materials. It must be reduced. Now, sustainable beauty, most of the time, can be incredibly insincere. What we all must understand is that the beauty industry is lucrative for both social and economic reasons. For many, including myself, makeup is a currency used to enhance your socio-economic status within the world. With the connection of status and beauty in mind, it is no wonder why the cosmetology industry remains so incredibly powerful. But where does sustainable beauty fall into this? The issue with the current state of the cosmetology industry regarding class and privilege is that it does not set out to facilitate real change, from the system of privilege that it actively benefits from. The intent of many of these businesses is also important to keep in mind. They do not market sustainability out of concern for environmental impact. They do not market sustainability to change the world. And as you all know, they certainly do not market sustainability out of the goodness of their hearts. No. If any of these were the case, they certainly would have begun marketing sustainability before it became somewhat of a trend. No, these brands market sustainability to appeal to our morality as consumers. In fact, all beauty brands use our inherent insecurities in order to sell products. The only difference between sustainable beauty brands and the next brand is that they also appeal to our sense of morality. The solution to this crisis is similar to that of waste and profit. That is, to remain aware of the brands that we purchase from and do our part to ensure that the brands that we choose to buy from do not contribute to or enable the senseless degradation of our environments. Now, one unfortunate truth about the beauty industry is that much of it is propelled by child labor due to its deep link to various mining industries overseas, according to World Vision Canada. For example, mica is a common beauty ingredient used to add shimmer to cosmetics. Unfortunately, to acquire such an ingredient, children as young as 5 years old are forced to work in the mines, many of which are known to collapse. Broken bones, severe injuries, heat stroke, even death by exhaustion are common within these industries. Injustices which sustainable beauty completely ignores. India is a common source of mica for many of these beauty brands. However, in many regions of the country, the supply chain is regarded as extremely difficult to assess. Yet despite this difficulty in assessing the supply chain in regions such as India, brands remain staunch in their conviction to continue mica mining, regardless of the ethical implications or concerns regarding the practice. According to Gurvinder Singh of the site Mongabay, illegal mica mining not only poses serious threats to women and young child workers, but also leads to massive deforestation and loss of wildlife. Knowing that brands will continue this mining of this material, regardless of the ethical implications, regardless of the consequences, regardless of whoever may be hurt, should raise some significant red flags, and only contributes to the likelihood of such practices enduring in the future. The overall problem with the reality of sustainable beauty regarding human rights is that it only tells half the truth. And honestly, people's lives should not be reduced to a half-truth in order to turn a profit. It is imperative then that we as consumers demand transparency, not only for our sake, but for the sake of justice and the preservation of equality. It is clear that in every sense of the word, the cosmetology industry has nothing to do with beauty, even less so ethics, and certainly not sustainability. It is the lack of awareness and autonomy of the horrific nature of the cosmetology industry that truly allows these businesses to thrive. I understand that a common sentiment at this point ought to be, what now? What can we do about this? What can we do to change anything? And I understand the sentiment. But what we must do at this moment is reclaim our autonomy. We possess great power. However, with a complacent mindset, such power can present a problem. We must choose to look inwards and strive to do good in every sense of the word. We are not fixed in our faults, and our current situation is not a permanent reality. Seeking to do good, not only through intent, but through action is imperative, and we must act now. Knowing this and cherishing it as a difficult but powerful truth is where true beauty lies. Thank you.